Hello everyone, my name's Fiercetooth, and today we're going to be learning the bare bones basics of the drunk demolitions expert slash sword wielding mad lad Demoman. Demoman is a crazy class to play as, offering a multitude of different playstyles and options. Playing Demoman can range from making you feel like a hunter to feeling like an unstoppable knight ripping and tearing through the battlefield. Demoman is truly a character to be loved and feared at the same time. There's just something so satisfying about completely annihilating an entire cart full of enemies, and each time you do it, you just want to laugh out at them and say,
"Couldn't you see the bloody bombs?"
But alas, Demoman can't just go on a rampage like this on a whim. Everyone has to start somewhere, so enough of me blabbering. Let's figure out how to play Demoman in 2020. To start things off, let's figure out how Valve wants us to play Demoman. Demoman is sorted as a defense class, meaning the game sees Demoman as a character to help hold points and protect them from offensive classes such as Scout, Soldier, and Pyro. But Demoman can also be played offensively, as his grenades and stickies are great for crowd control. Starting out the game, you're going to have 3 weapons: the grenade launcher, the sticky bomb launcher, and the bottle. The grenade launcher doesn't need much explanation. You shoot out grenades, or pills as the community calls it, which will explode on contact upon hitting an enemy, dealing a whopping 100 damage. Even if you miss, the grenades have splash damage similar to Soldier's rockets. The damage dealt to enemies will be dependent on how close the enemy is to the explosion, but keep in mind that unlike Soldier's rockets, the pills travel in arcs. This is both a blessing and a curse. A blessing, as you can sneak behind cover and fire away from a safe distance upon enemies, but a curse as firing directly at them will be a bit tougher to calculate, as you have to factor in the arc of the pills. Now that we have Demoman's pills out of the way, let's take a look at how it's effective and ineffective against enemies. The grenade launcher is super effective against large groups of enemies, as the splash damage of the pills can knock them back, and you don't need to concentrate as much at aiming. Just launch a pill in their general direction, and if it isn't a direct hit, a splash damage will surely hit them most of the time. This means that large groups of enemies on the objective can be absolutely shredded if you're able to get the drop on them. But what about one-on-one combat? What happens when you're heading towards the objective, but a random soldier or pyro jumps out of nowhere and ambushes you? Well, this is where you might be screwed. With the grenade launcher's pills being as bouncy as they are, the encounter will force you to land your shots on the other opponent or face certain death. Any TF2 player worth their salt isn't going to stand still when fighting in one-on-one combat. Your opponent will most likely move side to side and hop around as well, making it harder for you to land your shots. So in a nutshell, when you're forced into one-on-one combat, always remember ADA. Analyze, decide, act. Analyze yourself and your opponent. Think, do I have enough health to fight? Did my opponent bump into me while retreating, or are they deliberately looking to fight? After doing some quick analyzing, make sure to decide right after. Okay, my opponent is definitely looking to fight, and he didn't pick up the health pack upon entering, so that means he's at full while I'm only at 99 HP, so I should run back to my team. Once you've made your decision, act upon it. It will take some time to get used to this right off the bat, but practice makes perfect. By using your brain, you can increase your survivability and effectiveness in combat. Demoman mainly focuses on being alive at the right place at the right time, because if you die right before the enemy team decides to push the cart, you're going to be screaming internally at yourself. But I know you may all be asking, but Fiercetooth, how does Demo destroy people pushing the cart if he only has a grenade launcher? Well, that's where Demo's secondary comes into play, the sticky bomb launcher. The sticky bomb launcher can shoot out small bombs called stickies. Stickies will stick to most surfaces you launch them at, and will stay there until they are air blasted, destroyed, or detonated. With the sticky bomb launcher, you left click to fire a sticky, and right click to detonate it. Keep in mind the stickies have an arming time, so they won't be ready right away. The sticky will be armed when it lets out this small red glow. Once that small red glow shows, the sticky bomb is ready to explode. To top it all off, there's a small feature most players don't know about. If you hold left click, the sticky bomb launcher will charge and shoot out the sticky farther. Use this when you don't want to get up too close to the objective. The sticky bomb launcher is excellent at locking down players and shutting down pushes. There's 3 ways you can use a sticky bomb launcher to lock down people and shut them down. Number 1 is what I like to call lockdown. Pretty original, am I right? Lockdown is basically when you shoot some stickies out in the open where enemies can see them. While this means that enemies can destroy them, it helps to slow them down a bit. And hey, if you're smart, you can use it to protect yourself while waiting for a health pack, or to ambush players while they are distracted by the stickies. It also serves as a way to make another problem for the enemy team along with your team trying to kill them. Number 2 is what I call traps. And no, I'm not talking about those traps. Get your mind out of the gutters, Jesus. Anyways, traps are basically when you shoot stickies in hard to see places. When enemies are rushing to a health pack or retreating, they aren't thinking to check the sides of the doorways to see if a sticky is there. By hiding your stickies and staying in hard to see areas, you can kill unsuspecting enemies when they run right into your traps. Keep in mind though that enemies will see your traps sometimes and take the time to destroy them, so don't be disheartened if this happens. It's also important to note that setting up the same trap in one place over and over is not the best strategy, as the enemy will quickly learn not to go there. And finally, number 3 is what I call sticky spamming. Okay, I'm gonna say this right off the bat, just don't. Sticky spamming is when you shoot out stickies and spam them when fighting an enemy, and it usually ends up getting you killed. Don't ever do this. If you do this, you're just annoying for both sides. Now the question is, where do I set up my stickies? Well, a good place to start is the objective. Throw some stickies at the payload cart to stop enemies from pushing it, or on the point to stop enemies from capping it, or shoot stickies at the enemy team when they're distracted. And to top it all off, Demoman's sticky bomb launcher can also be used to sticky jump. Just plop one of these bad boys down on the ground and detonate it while jump crouching, and you'll go flying. Just keep in mind that doing this will drain a ton of Demoman's health, so be careful. Last but not least, the bottle. It's a bottle. That's it. The bottle can shatter when you hit someone. Pretty cool. So now that we have stock weapons out of the way, let's move on to some weapons you may unlock later on. Demo has a ton of different weapons, so we're going to just take a look at a few of them, and kind of lump them in together. The weapons in question are the Iron Bomber, the Boots, the Shields, and the Eyelander. Pretty small selection, but I'll leave the more in-depth analyzation to you. We're going to start off with the Iron Bomber. The Iron Bomber has a minus 30% fuse time, and the grenades don't roll and bounce as much, at the cost of a minus 15% explosion radius. These stats mean that bombs will explode quicker, and will stay where you shoot them. If you're good with your aim, you can shoot these bad boys at a crucial spot, and with the shorter fuse time, enemies won't have as much time to react before the grenades explode. These stats mean that bombs will explode quicker and will stay where you shoot them. If you're good with your aim, you can shoot these bad boys at a crucial spot, and with the shorter fuse time, enemies won't have as much time to react before the grenades explode. But with the smaller explosion radius, the weapon will require you to think before you shoot. Now for the next 3 weapons, I'm going to lump them all together because they follow under a subclass. A subclass is a weapon combo that drastically changes the way you play a class, hence the name subclass. Now, Demo Knight is basically when a player equips Boots, Shield, and the Eyelander. The Boots, for quick explanation, give the player more speed and an extra 25 health. The Shields increase movement speed of Demo or give him some bonuses when he charges. With the Shield, you rush forward, and if you time your hits correctly, you can use the crit you're given to slam your sword right down into an enemy and kill them. Now we get into what makes a Demo Knight. The Eyelander is a sword that reduces Demo's health by 25 and denies him random crits when he holds the weapon, but gives him a 37% longer melee range. Combined with the Boots, however, the health downside doesn't come into play. And every time you kill an enemy, you gain a head. Each head increases your speed by 7.5% and bumps up your maximum health by 15. By killing more and more players, you can get an insane amount of HP and speed, but be warned that when you die, all of the heads will be lost. When playing Demomanite, don't charge into the front lines unless you have a fair amount of heads. Try to pick off weaker classes such as Scout, Snipers, and Spies. By doing this, you can build up your heads safely until you're ready to go out to the front lines. Also, when you kill another Demoman who is wielding the Eyelander, you will gain the heads of that Demoman that he had on him. A nice little added bonus. Phew, that was a lot to cover with weapons, but we're almost done. Okay, now let's go over Demoman's counters. Demoman is mainly countered by Pyrates. Pyro can air blast your stickies and your grenades, denying you damage or destroying your traps. The best way to deal with Pyros is to sneak up on them and ambush them. Try to drop down on them when they're occupied fighting another class so they can't air blast your grenades. As for classes Demoman counters, there's really only one: the Engineer. With the Engineer Sentry being hard to destroy up close and personal, your grenades and stickies can be fired at from a distance outside of the sentry's range, and by doing this, you can safely destroy sentries without getting hurt. When spotting a level 3 sentry, try to use your grenade launcher or fire some stickies to blow it up. And with that, you should now be ready to go out there and play as Demoman. This is Fierce Dudes, and remember, always steal that sandwich. He's got the liquor. Get him!
Go.
Get him! Get him! Stop him! Kill him! You win it! Go! You win it! The bus after it!
Everyone in the buzzsaw.
Into the song we go!
Commit suicide. That's the greatest way to escape.
There's just a singular medic